availability shrinks, resorts making exiting nearly impossible. That's why I partner only with Lone Star Transfer. This family-owned company is transparent, honest, respectful. They have helped more than 40,000 owners exit legally and ethically through a simple guaranteed process. No surprise fees, no unused vacations, no stress. Please visit LoneStarTransfer.com or you can call 855-551-7066. Tell them Bill sent you today. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Kenny Williams.
Good morning, Vic Porcelli.
You know what, Ken?
What?
It's Monday.
It is.
Do you feel like a Monday today?
Yeah, not really. I don't know. Everything moves so fast now, even over the weekend, that you just don't really, it's kind of an extension from the previous week.
Just another day.
Right.
Another day in paradise. All right, Rob Bluey is going to be with us in just a second. Lots to talk to him about. That's crap at 9:25. Ken, today, That's Crap goes to the circus.
All right.
Yeah. Craig Bannister is going to join us at 9:41. And it's the same story, just with a different point of view on how ABC, CBS, NBC, all the legacy Pfizer media that Kenny calls them, just refuse to report crimes by illegal immigrants. They just refuse.
They completely do, yes.
And it's just stupid, Ken.
Well, it's dangerous because it's giving the illusion that we're safe.
I think it's stupid, too.
It is stupid, though.
Stupid and dangerous.
Yes.
Okay. Karen Kataline, 10:05. Boy, there was an emotional segment on 60 Minutes last night that, believe it or not, didn't do anything to blame Trump about October 7th and the woman who was the mother of that kid Hesh, if you remember that kid Hesh, who was murdered like 300 days into it. It was all I could do to not just break down and cry. So the Rainbow Chaser, the man who gambled for success and broke even. What a great title, right?
Yeah.
That's former Congressman Bob Livingston. Livingston is going to join us. Doug Blair, chat box. Ken, who does the Monday morning Pledge of Allegiance?
Well, previously from Vivek, remember Vivek Ramaswamy's grassroots campaign?
I do.
Running for president. Kathy Barnett,
who got very emotional, I believe, doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Listen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You hear her getting emotional?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I wish this Iran thing was going on and there was no news media,
Yeah.
Because everything would just go, everything would just happen, and then when it's all over, Iran will be done and over and not an Islamic Republic anymore, and hopefully back to some sort of normalcy like it was prior to 1979. But nope, today's show had to say, gas prices could stay high forever.
I know I keep aligning with the media with being dangerous, but this is dangerous when you start to, report something that's absolutely not the case. They keep making it sound like, well, it's another standoff for Iran and the United States, or Donald Trump and the United States. Of course, they always have to include that. And it's not. The only thing keeping Donald Trump from annihilating the IRGC is his humanity.
Yeah.
He's saying, I don't want to destroy everything. Please, I am almost begging you to please come to the table so you don't make me make the decision that I'm required to make.
It's almost like a kid that gets bullied every day at school, lunch money taken, gets beaten up on the playground, until that one day he fights back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the bully just stops.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen here.
Yep.
All right, let's talk to Rob Bluey. Good morning, Rob Bluey.
It's a beautiful day in Washington, D.C.
It's a busy Monday after a busy weekend. I'll tell you, this president never slows down, does he?
From the Heritage Foundation, of course, and president and executive editor of the Daily Signal,
There is going to be no shortage of news today.
Rob. Good morning, Rob. How are you?
Good morning. It's great to be with you, Vic.
You heard us talk right there about, President Trump doing his thing. NBC just wants us to fail. It's unbelievable how they root against a country winning a war, winning a conflict, just because they hate one guy.
Yeah, I agree absolutely with what Ken was just saying. And to your question, Vic, it is so true that we've talked about this before. This is the 51st day, I think, of this conflict. Obviously, it is not an endless war. It's anything but that. They have decimated the Iranian military. President Trump has threatened many times to go after power plants or other infrastructure. He's held back from doing so because I think he hopes and I think sincerely appreciates the fact that the Iranian people want to have life after this terrible regime is gone. And if he were to destroy all of that, it would make their lives significantly more challenging. And yet, the Iranians continue to create chaos in the Strait of Hormuz. And just one other point, Vic, to remember, we've already seen results happening elsewhere as a result of what took place in Iran over these last 51 days.
So
and I'm
true.
talking namely about Israel and Lebanon talking for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump not only was successful in his first term in achieving the Abraham Accords, but now to get Israel and Lebanon to the table and have their own ceasefire, where Hezbollah is nowhere near that conversation, I think is a promising development. So I would like to see the president continue to lean into this peace through strength approach to how he conducts his affairs. I'd also like to see this war come to a conclusion, as I think most people do.
And I think we have to abandon, in this particular case, Robbie, I forget what it's called, verified truth, but verify, that's not the right way. But you can't believe anything that comes out of Iran, anything, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether they're doing good, whether they're doing bad, anything. The foreign minister says, we're not going to any peace talks. President says, yep, I'll be there with bells on.
Yeah, well, you've got that right. I mean, there's so much, so many lies just because people in the news media are operating with an anti-Trump agenda, and they would prefer to see Donald Trump fail. I think that it's heightened probably because we are in an election year where the polls indicate that it's Democrats. Well, let's start by saying Democrats historically would have an advantage, just given that a president during his second term does not usually fare well during the midterm elections. And so historically speaking, there are a few notable exceptions, but you would expect that the incumbent's party to suffer some defeats. And yet, you look at some of these polls, and the Democrats are doing worse than they should when it comes to the generic ballot. That's who voters think should represent them in Congress. But I think that the news media is doing everything that they can to tarnish the reputation of Donald Trump and Republicans, which is why, Vic and Ken, it's more important than ever for Republicans on Capitol Hill to get their act together and make sure that they are supporting this president's agenda. And unfortunately, doing a skinny reconciliation bill to fund ICE and CBP is only playing into the Democrats' hands. What they need to do is they need to be codifying so many of the things that President Trump has already done and having his back so that going into November, voters feel that Republicans are worth returning to power.
Well, Rob, at what point do the American people say, okay, Democrats, you just don't have anything to bring to the table. All you're doing is putting this country in danger. I mean, this is the truth. This is actually what's happening. But I know that, a good portion of this country doesn't see it. But at what point do they say, okay, now we see it? I mean, you know what I'm saying, Rob?
I know. And I think, Ken, I think you do see it a little bit reflected in the polling. Obviously, when prices of gasoline and food and things like that go up, it usually hurts the president and the incumbent party. And yet, despite some of those challenges that have resulted from this conflict with Iran, you're not seeing a lot of substantive gains on the part of Democrats, I think precisely for the reason that you stated, the American people, the Joe Biden experience is still fresh in many people's minds, and the incompetence that the Democrats have. Also, the far left agenda, which is really out of step with where so many of the American people are, whether it be on issues like DEI or transgenderism, or certainly on economic issues where they want to tax and spend a whole lot more than our country can afford. And so that's why I think they realize that, yeah, they might not be completely satisfied with the way things are going, but the alternative is not a good prospect for our country. And I think that they know that things in Washington would probably just reach a stalemate, and quite frankly, impeachment. I mean, not just the president, but probably his cabinet as well.
You know, last week, Rob, we were talking about how long the war has been going on, and President Trump will go into a room and make a speech and say, you know, World War II was 6 years or whatever it was. Afghanistan was 20 years. And we're going to get this done in like 6 to 8 weeks. And it's like, what? That's 6 to 8 weeks. That's what we waited to get our X-ray specs when we ordered from the from the comic books, right?
Well, right, and I think that Vic, you nailed it. I mean, so often I think well, Ken was just talking at the start of the show, right? How busy everything seems, including the weekends. I mean, everything moves at such a rapid pace these days that people just don't tend to have the patience that they once did. And I think for those who probably, you know, are a little bit more politically in tune, yeah, you're going to react negatively when things aren't done in a span that you would expect. And that's where I think if the president could do anything, particularly when it comes to Iran, it's not only to remind people the threat that Iran posed to countries like those in Europe, where they with their missiles could certainly target some of the European capitals, but also why the failure over the last 47 years of American presidents to really carry out and deliver a clear message to Iran has put us in this position to begin with. And remember, it was during Barack Obama's presidency that they gave the Iranians pallets of cash and a terrible JCPOA Iranian nuclear deal. So Donald Trump, as is the case with so much of the policies that he's trying to implement, is cleaning up the messes of his predecessors.
So what a difference America is now from, say, World War II, right? Everybody rooted for our guys overseas, and Rosie the Riveter and gas rations, and the women gave up their nylons and all this stuff because everyone was behind the troops. Everyone was behind the war. And now it's just what a difference between the left that wants President Trump to fail. I mean, well, what good does that do?
Yeah, well, what good it does is they think politically it's going to do them well. And this is where, it'll be very interesting to watch, by the way, this Saturday when Donald Trump goes into hostile territory at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C. It'll be his first appearance. He skipped them all during the first term. And I wonder if he's going to just roast the news media when he gets up to speak, because obviously he must be as frustrated with them as you and I are in terms of their coverage. And